What is up, everybody? Doomwake here. Welcome back to another modern video on the channel. As always, before we continue, make sure to smash the like and subscribe button on the video. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of the video. Today, I'm going to give you all a break from the kind of Asmo cookbook shell, because I've been playing that deck a lot, and I know I've done a lot of videos with it, but, I'm really passionate about that deck because I want to try and find the best version, and I think that deck is really good. But we'll do doing a little something different today. So this is a deck list, a deck that I believe was first created by Jerry Thompson. I think he wrote an article about it on Star City, and it's kind of like a Grixis mid-range deck. We are based around Lurrus, similar to the Rakdos Lurrus deck that has discard spells, Dragon's Rage Channeler plus Ragavan. Some bunch of removal spells like Heat, Bolt, Kolaghan's Command, stuff like that. But we are deciding to add blue into the mix for Snapcaster, Geronimo Lock, and probably one of the best cantrips ever printed in the past couple of years, Expressive Iteration. Card that's, shown its chops in various blue-red prowess decks and the blue-red Murktide deck as well. And it just kind of seems like a natural fit to add to Splash Blue for Expressive Iteration in a mid-range deck like this. You kind of want to play towards the long game anyways with Kolaghan's Command and Lurrus and all that stuff, so just getting to play 4 copies of Expressive Iteration seems really awesome in a deck like this. It's fairly straightforward. I won't spend too much time on the deck tech, but we have Mishra's Bauble because we are a Dragon's Rage Channeler plus Lurrus deck. Bunch of discard spells to protect our 1-drops, Bolt, Heat to clear the way for Ragavan, Snapcaster Mage to pair with all of our 1-mana spells, discard plus removal. 2 copies of Geronimo Lock, which I'm not a huge fan of, to be honest with you. There's a few decks, namely Hammer Time, that don't put cards in their graveyard. However, Hammer Time does have 0-mana creatures like Memnite, Ornithopter, Inkmoth Nexus. So even though they don't necessarily put cards into their graveyard all the time, frequently, you can still tag, one of the 0-mana creatures, so it's still not too bad. And most other decks have, fetches, shocklands, or, fetches, 1-mana spells, things of that nature. Iteration, as we already went over. 1 copy of Terminate, just as kind of an additional removal spell. It's a nice catch-all. It's one of the few cards that, it kills Murktide Regent, it kills, you can kill Ragavan on turn 2 if you're on the play. Just, a really versatile card. Kolaghan's Command to pair with all of our mid-rangey stuff, and also just to rebuy Lurrus when we, in post-board, or in situations where Lurrus dies, we want to be able to kind of keep the train going, and then obviously Snapcaster plus Kolaghan's Command, that's shown its chops in Modern before. Then we have a copy of Engineered Explosives in the main deck. The list that I copied, this was a 5-0 list from my friend Kane. I'm not sold on this main deck Explosives, but I wanted to just kind of copy-paste the list because I haven't played this deck yet, so kind of wanted to just find the most recent list that I could, give it a shot. So we have 1 main deck Explosives. The card is very, very powerful against Hammer Time, so I think that's part of the reason why it's in the main deck, and, there's other various decks that have 1-drops. Even like the blue-red Murktide deck, they also have Channeler plus Ragavan, so it's not even that bad against them. And then the mana base, pretty straightforward. We got some fast lands, we got some fetch lands, we got some shock lands, nothing fancy going on over there. In the sideboard, we have additional copies of Explosives for Hammer Time, Nihil Spellbomb for graveyard decks like Living End, as well as the Asmo Food Oval-Chase Daredevil decks. We have a Chalice of the Void for basically, this Chalice of the Void mainly is here for Cascade, because as you can see, we don't really want to put it on 1 because we have a lot of 1-mana spells. So it's mainly here in the post-board games to put on 0 against Asmo and Cascade decks. 2 copies of Angrath's Rampage, nice little catch-all here. I think it's a little bit better than a Braid because you can tag Planeswalkers with it, so it's really good. You can actually bring this against control decks that have Teferi and Jace and not feel too bad about it. So my one concern is that it's a sorcery, whereas a Braid is an instant. So like specifically for the Hammer Time matchup, interacting at instant speed is very important against them because they have Sigarda's Aid, and they'll usually play the hammer in combat if they have a Sigarda's Aid, which means that interacting at sorcery speed sometimes is not going to be the best. But, again, it is more versatile than a Braid, so that's kind of the trade-off that you pay there. Alpine Moon for Urza Saga, fairly straightforward. Mystical Dispute for control. Aether Gust for the people that are still playing Primeval Titan, and you can also bring this in against Ponza. There's probably some other matchups where it comes up. I'm not a huge fan of Gust right now, because for the most part, Amulet has kind of fallen out of the metagame. But it does still exist in some small numbers, so I understand playing it, because this deck's Amulet matchup is probably not great. So it does make a little bit of sense to play it. Seal of Removal. It's a nice little card here. So, obviously, it's decent when you need just kind of like an instant speed bounce spell. It's really good against Hammer Time because you can just kind of play it early and just have it sit in play for the turn that they decide to go for Hammer, which is pretty cool. And also, when you do bring it in, it's also kind of sicko with Lurrus because you can just have it in play, and then, you know, the game progresses a couple more turns, you decide to put Lurrus into your hand and then cast it, you already have the seal in play. So if your opponent goes to kill the Lurrus, you can just play that. You can just seal, bounce the Lurrus back to your hand. Next turn, replay the Lurrus, replay the seal, and it's like nearly impossible for them to ever kill your Lurrus in a meaningful way, which is pretty cool. And then we have a Ceremonious Rejection for artifacts and Tron and things like that, and then a Flusterstorm for control decks and the excuse me, the Cascade decks. So that is the deck list. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on a lot of it's fairly straightforward stuff. Just kind of Grixis, mid-range, good cards, Lurrus, all of the above. So, without further ado, I'll see you back in just a little bit for round number 1. Alrighty, YouTube, we are back here for round number 1 of our league with Grixis Lurrus. Let's see what we got here. No lands, so I will take a mulligan. Pretty straightforward stuff there. Opponent did reveal Lurrus, so keep that in mind. Alright, what do we have here? I have a hand that I'm definitely going to keep, but what am I putting back? So, we could... I'm debating on putting back Thoughtseize on the draw, with the intention of going turn 1 Ragavan, turn 2 Channeler plus Unholy Heat, turn 3 Iteration, try and hit land plus another 1 mana spell. Or alternatively, I could just put back Channeler and then go turn 1 Ragavan, turn 2 Thoughtseize plus Heat, turn 3 Iteration. I feel like that's probably better. I guess there's also consideration to put back Ragavan on the draw, especially because my opponent could be playing Hammer Time. You know, okay, that might be kind of weird, but I think in a general sense, Ragavan on the draw is not as good. And yeah, my opponent could be playing Hammer Time, so. And they are, so I'm kind of happy with my decision. Now the question is, what do we do? I could play Channeler on 1, I could heat something, I could Thoughtseize. None of my options seem particularly great. I think I'm just going to play Channeler on 1. And then maybe turn 2 I can play a 1 mana spell plus pay for the Sentinel. Like maybe I turn 2, kill the Sentinel, pay the mana. Okay, maybe we're just dead. No blocks. Okay, well, that was a fun experience. God, I hate this deck so much. Okay. Okay, what's my out? My out is go to the next game. Oh, man, this deck is so frustrating to play against. Anyways, Explosives, Chalice. You can Chalice on 0 because you're on the play, so you can hit, like, you know, Ornithopter, Memnite, that kind of stuff. Alpine Moon's good. Seal of Removal is good. I'm not a huge fan of Rampage because they just have a bunch of random stuff lying around, so, like, even sacrifice an artifact, you might think that that's somewhat good against Hammer, but they just have a random Memnite or Ornithopter lying around to sacrifice to it, so kind of not a fan of that. I don't think this is a Snapcaster Mage matchup. I think that card's too slow. And I also don't think this is a Thoughtseize matchup. There is some consideration to boarding out Bauble when I'm bringing in Chalice, and I'm likely setting Chalice on 0. Or I could just not have the Chalice. Yeah, I don't know if I actually like Chalice. Let's keep in 1 Thoughtseize. Alright, let's do that. I don't know, it's just like every time I play against Hammer Time, the games just don't feel remotely interesting at all, one way or the other. I don't know, maybe I'm just complaining a lot about it, but I really, really dislike what this deck does to the metagame. I'm not a big fan. This hand's good. I'll keep. So let's get steam vents, I think. See what they got. Esper Sentinel. I'm just going to kill that thing now. So let's get, I think, Blood Crypt or Watery Grave. We get Blood Crypt. No, I actually want to get Watery Grave because I want to go... Next turn I want to... Why did I shock there? I don't know, that was stupid. I'm not... Oh yeah, because I'm paying for the Sentinel. Because next turn I might want to go Iteration into a red card. Do I want another Iteration? Sure, I think that's fine. I think that is acceptable. So now if they go Stoneforge Mystic, for example, then I can just go Iteration, land, heat the Stoneforge Mystic. Springleaf Drum. Okay. They're just playing a hammer. Interesting. Okay, let's Iteration. Not even sure that that's good because they have Urza Saga. And I think I would rather just hold up on Holy Heat. I really don't know. Like, I guess best case scenario is I keep this, and then I exile this off the Iteration, and then go land Inquisition them. I think that's good. Sure. I don't really think I want this Ragavan, so let's go hand, bottom, exile, get Blood Crypt, play Bauble. Definitely don't want a third one of those. Bauble them to see what's on top, and then we get more information on the Inquisition. So they have an Inkmoth Nexus on top. I am going to top that. And the Abordant Path to Exile, huh? Alright, I'm going to take Pure Steel Paladin, because that is a card I think I am worried about the most. So their hand right now is Path, Shadow Spear, Plains, and they're drawing Inkmoth Nexus. Not a terrible setup. I do kind of need one additional threat, but... Alright, so Inkmoth Nexus. So they have this Path to Exile. That's going to kill my first threat. Are they going to main phase make a token and then... They're going to main phase Path? Or they're going to play Shadow Spear. Okay, sure. Makes sense. Okay. So they have Plains, Path to Exile. So... Let's go... I'm going to cast the Iteration first. Definitely top that, because I can put that in my hand. Okay. Well, that kind of worked out. So hand, bottom, exile. I think I'm just going to cast the E for 0. Yeah, cast the E for 0. Don't really need that. I guess I die if they draw another Paladin. Because what's going to happen is they're going to float a mana with the Urza Saga. They're probably going to get Pithing Needle because I assume they boarded that in. But I can wait till after they float a mana. If they get Needle. Okay, I think I'm gonna attack and pass. Just hold up mana and see what they do. I might not crack the explosives. Let's see what they do. I mean, they're obviously there's no reason for them to make a token, right? Wow, they did. Okay, interesting. Well, now I'm definitely popping the explosives. I'm surprised they did that. I guess it forces the issue, but I think if they just floated a mana and represent Pithing Needle, they would force the issue anyways. So now I guess they're going to get an Ornithopter? Well, they got the needle anyways. Okay. So they have Plains Path X. Plains Path X. They chose explosives, which makes sense. They drew Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. So their last two cards are Path to Exile, Cranial Plating. That's not bad. So now we can go attack, because we have to attack anyways. I kind of want to Alpine Moon the Nexus, but I also just don't really think I need to. So I think I might just pass and see what they do. Yeah, because I kind of want to call against Command the Cranial Plating. I just don't really need to do anything quite yet. But also, I kind of want to drown in the Lock the Path. I could name Alpine Moon on Urza Saga preemptively, but if they draw Saga, I can just play the Moon. Yeah, that's another one I want to counter. That I cannot let resolve. Okay, we must counter that. Help if I tap for black mana. Blue, black. Because if I let that resolve, then they can just slam all these equipments. I'm going to keep a threat, because I assume they're going to path my other one. Plating resolves. So now we can go end step. Oh, wait, they just dead. 3, 6, 7, 8. No, they're not quite dead. Alright, end step, heat this. Top that. So now I can actually just go... yeah, I'm actually just going to go Shatter, Discard. Discard, Shatter. But I kind of want to hold up Bolt. Okay, I'm just going to attack. Because I could make them discard the Path and Shatter the Plating. But then I kind of want to hold up Bolt, because if they draw Paladin, I die at the Nexus, because they just go Paladin, tap Paladin for mana, animate the Nexus, equip the Hammer, and then I die if I tap out. Well, actually, no, because I'd have a blocker, right? Okay. So maybe that's fine. Yeah, actually, this is fine. Okay, discard, destroy target artifact. Right, because... oh, no, because they have the Shadow Spear. Oh, but I have 3 toughness, right? So then, if they draw exactly Pure Steel Paladin, they would go cast Paladin, tap this, and the Paladin for mana, animate Nexus, equip, it would be 12, minus 3 is 9, so I would take 9 poison. So I think this is okay. I don't know, that's weird. I'm just so... I have very traumatic experiences playing against Hammer Time, and I know, I kind of play these games a little bit slower, but I just, have to visually think about every single possible card they could draw, because they could literally kill you out of nowhere at any point. So I think that's the most important part. That's a really good lesson here. It's just always think about, what if they draw X? What if they draw Y? You know what I mean? It's just that there's so many cards in their deck that can just kill you from almost any position, that there's just a lot to think about. So I know I play these games a little bit slower, but I think it's a good exercise to just kind of think about what position you're in and what if they draw this. Okay. Okay, we're back. Game 3. This hand does not have any red mana. Which is really unfortunate, because it's got a lot of good cards in it. I don't think I can keep this. If either of these was a red source, I mean, we do have turn 1 Inquisition and a Bauble for a redraw. I'm talking myself into keeping this hand, because we essentially are going to get 3 looks at a red source before turn 2. We have a lot of good cards. All right, I talked myself into it. Keeping. talked myself into it. Well, there it is. Now the question is, how do we want to sequence this? I think I would still like to play Inquisition on turn 1, in which case I want to bobble them to get more information. I know I'm giving up a Channeler trigger here, but I think it's worth it. So they have a Pure Steel Paladin on top. They have Sanctifier, Aid, Hammer, Path, with a Paladin on top. So I think I have to take Sanctifier. And what they're probably going to do is go land Paladin. Maybe they'll wait on the Paladin, because then I could just kill it. They're not going to wait on the Paladin. Interesting. Well, kind of bricked off. This is not good. Not trying a removal spell there is pretty tough. This is really bad. I mean, I have to play Channeler, right? Yeah, so let's just go get basic Mountain, play Channeler. And pass the turn. I guess I got punished for playing Watery Grave on turn 1, because I could have played Alpine Moon on 2. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that would have been better. I mean, if they don't draw a second equipment, okay. Yeah, definitely got punished, because next turn, I'm likely going to have to cast... I'm likely going to have to cast Alpine Moon on the Saga, and now I won't be able to... Well, yeah, this is... Yep. Because if I had played a red source on turn 1, like let's say I went fetch for Blood Crypt on turn 1, Inquisition them, then I could have went Steam Vents onto Channeler plus Alpine Moon named Saga. Whereas now I kind of have to cast Kolaghan's Command next turn in order to blow this thing up. Okay. So the last 2 cards are Path plus Aid. It's not good. So I have to blow up the Paladin. I don't have a choice. So let's go bobble them to see what they're drawing, because we know their last 2 cards are Path plus Aid. And they're drawing Sanctifier in back, huh? Okay. Well, that's a little annoying. I'm gonna actually... Oh, man, this is so tough. Alright, I'm gonna do this now. Doing this now so they can't respond to the Kolaghan's Command and sacrifice the clearing and draw another equipment, because then this would grow out of 2 toughness range. So let's go do this now. Then they're drawing Aid, Path, Sanctifier. Or they have Aid plus Path. That is really good for me, because that means they're not drawing Sanctifier, and I don't know that I could have beaten the Sanctifier. I mean, they don't know that their top card was Sanctifier, but it works out really well for me. Alright, they have another Sigarda's Aid, that's fine. Ornithopter. I think we're actually not in a horrible spot. Okay, so they make a thing. Well, the awkward part is, in order for me to put Lurrus into my hand, I have to pay 2 life. And that means I die to literally any artifact. So do I just not put Lurrus into my hand here? If I wait and they draw an artifact, I go to 2. This is tough. I think I have to risk it here. I think I have to risk it. I need to use my mana. I think. This is a tough spot. Really, really tough spot. I guess I'm dead to most. I'm dead to any equipment, right? Even if I don't pay the life to put the Lurrus in my hand. Alright, I'm just gonna hope they break, I think. Yeah. I mean, I know I did any artifact, but my hand is just so bad that, you know. This was a spot where I think I definitely lost this game because I played the wrong land on turn 1. I think had I just played the Blood Crypt on turn 1, I would have been in a better position, but yeah, really unfortunate. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that game again. It's just like that's why I play this. I play this matchup. You know, I played kind of slow this game, and I get that. But it's just there's so many things that you have to think about playing against the Hammer Time deck. It's just and that's kind of why I hate it so much. It's just too much sometimes. But anyways, that was round number 1. I'll see you back in just a little bit for number 2. All right, everybody, we are here for round number 2 of our League with Grixis Lurrus. Let's see what we are up against. We have Watery Grave and a bunch of red cards. My mana base is not treating me well today. I'm going to ship this. It's one of those days, huh? One of those days. Don't really think I can keep this one either. Maybe if I was in the draw, I could keep this, but okay, finally a keepable hand. I'm gonna put back the explosives in the dark, especially because they didn't reveal Lurrus. And this is tough because I want to play Ragavan on turn 1. So I think I'm gonna put back one of the 1-mana spells and cycle the Bauble on turn 1 to try and hit my second land drop. So what's best case scenario? I think, assuming they kill the Ragavan. Well, isn't it better just keep Bolt? Because that covers me. It's like decent if they have a removal spell, but still fine if they have a 1-drop. Okay, let's do it this way. I think this makes the most sense to me. Because that way, if they play a 1-drop, I can clear the way for Ragavan. I don't know if it makes more sense to keep the Bolt over the Inquisition, but I think I have to keep the Bauble to try and hit my second land drop, and I want to keep both creatures. So I think it makes the most sense to me. It's close, though. There's some argument to saving the Bauble for turn 2 for the DRC, but I think just given how that I've mulled to 5 and I only have 1 land, I think I just need to hit my land drop. So let's do this. Architects of Will. So Living End. Living End, probably not a great matchup. Especially game 1. We do have some good sideboard cards. We have like Flusterstorm, Chalice, 2 Spell Bombs. Yeah, we have some number of sideboard cards. Street Wraith, Curator. Okay, that's not too bad. We'll take that. We take those. Because now I can actually play Channeler and Hold Up Drown. Not too bad. We're not going to be able to cast much off of their deck, but I wonder if I hit a Cascade spell if I just cast it. Try and hit like another 1-drop. But I guess I already have a Ragavan in play. Could have like a discard spell. Yeah, definitely not casting that one. Definitely not casting that one. Alright, Channeler, your turn. Now we kind of get a little bit of pressure going, and we have a counter spell. We can bolt next turn to get a Surveil trigger. I think I might bolt Upkeep. Bolting Upkeep is decent if we hit like a discard spell, because then I can go Bolt Upkeep, attack with both, get a treasure, discard spell, Hold Up Drown in the lock. They're casting Subtlety. Kind of want to just bottom that, I think. Because I think I'd rather just draw a discard spell or a Snapcaster Mage. Because Snapcaster would allow me to Snap Drown. So I think I have better draws on the average than another copy, than a Channeler, if that makes sense. Okay. The Waker of Waves. The waves are being awoken. It's not a discard spell. I hit a subtlety. Do I want to cast that? No, because then I go shields down on drown. I will, however, put Lurrus into my hand. Off of Watery Grave, I think. Right, pass the turn. This doesn't even look too suspicious, right? We're just using our mana to put Lurrus into our hand. So it's not even like we're screaming that we have Drought in the lock. So, I mean, obviously, if they have Violent Outburst plus Force plus Boot Guard, doesn't matter what we do. But, you know, hopefully they just go for Shardless Agent here. Which it looks like they might be. Nope, never mind. They have Outburst. Let's hope they don't have Force. Looks like they might. Oh, maybe not. Alright, Living In has been countered. Drew a Blackleaf Cliffs, which is not enough for lethal. So they go to 4. I think I Lurrus just to draw an extra card to try and get deeper towards a burn spell, because I'm going to have to find a burn spell to win this game, because I assume they have another Cascade. So let's go ahead and cast Lurrus, cast Bauble. Bauble you, they have a Grief. Okay. That was probably a reason to not Bauble main phase, and I don't really think there's many reasons to do it, right? Because I don't have any more counter spells that I can cast. Alright, so they have Grief, Pitch Living End. I'll just bolt them. Well, if they have another Cascade spell, we need to find a burn spell. Looks like they have the Cascader. They don't? Question mark? Did we get there? I think we might have gotten there. There we go. Alright. Game 2, Chalice, Nihil Spellbomb, and what else did we say? Flusterstorm. Not Ceremonious Rejection. Could bring in Seal of Removal, because you can like bounce one of their fatties, but I don't know. I don't think it's good enough. Unholy Heat, I think, is quite bad, and that's a nice clean swap, right? Lightning Bolt at least goes upstairs. I want to keep in, I guess maybe Terminate's not great either. Maybe Seal's better than Terminate, because they both kind of deal with the fatty, but Seal is cheaper and can, you know, rebuy my own like Snapcaster Mage or something like that. I don't want Gust, I don't want Moon. I don't want Dispute. I guess Dispute helps fight over Force of Negation, so it's good like it's good at winning a counter war. Cold Against Command's pretty bad, right? Let's do that. Okay, I think that makes sense. I just don't want any of the cheap removal. I don't think it's very good against them. Alright, we're back here for game number 2. Grixis versus Living End. We got a Chalice in the opening hand, plus the Dispute to protect it. I'm going to keep this. So here's a situation where I think it's actually better for me to go Scalding Tarn, Chalice, prior to Channeler, because if they have Force of Negation, I can fight over with Dispute. I know I lose a Scry this way, but I think this is more important. Oh, I also probably should have played the Bauble first, huh? Okay, that might have been bad. Yeah, well, it's tough, right? Because if they fight over the Chalice, I want to Dispute. But I guess in that case, the Dispute's resolving, or the Chalice is resolving. So either way, my Bauble's a brick if the Chalice resolves. Yeah, that might have been bad. I think maybe I was supposed to cast the Bauble first. The more that I think about it. Dead gone. Alright, my creature is, in fact, dead. Is it gone, though, is the real question. Wonder if they boarded in an answer to Chalice. I don't know if they did, maybe. I don't know if they would do that preemptively. Drew a Snapcaster Mage, which is kind of eh. Just play this tapped. Pass the turn. If they start hardcasting Curators, I can Dispute. Alright, Breeding Pool tapped. I think this is probably just going to be a Lurrus turn for me. Okay, I changed my mind. I'm going to play Channeler. I wonder if there's any way I should just be playing the Bauble anyways, just to get a Scry trigger. So, I keep saying Scry, I mean Surveil. I'm going to wait, though, because I don't know what I'm looking for yet. I kind of want to look for a black source to play this Lurrus. But also at the same time, if they start hardcasting Curators and such, I want to dispute this and, you know. Like, hopefully I draw a land here. That's not bad either, I guess. Although it's probably not relevant, given that they probably would have cast a number of those spells by now anyways. It's kind of funny that I want to graveyard this. I think I'm actually going to, because plus I can Lurrus it back eventually anyways. Alright, so they have 2 Furies. Well, that could be an issue. Huh. Two Furies and that thing. So now I can play the Bauble just to get a Surveil trigger. Fury is not great for me. I will say that. Yeah, I'm going to play the Bauble now just to try and get a Surveil trigger, because I really need to find a black source for this Lurrus. Okay, I'll top that. Might be kind of a spew, but... see if they find a land to play Fury. I hope they don't. I did keep all of my bolts in, so we are drawing towards 4 of those. And if they don't play the Fury this turn, next turn I can just hold up Hardcast Dispute. Like, I think if they don't cast Fury this turn, I'm just gonna probably hold up Dispute for a while. They might pitch cast here, which I think would be okay for me because, you know, I'll take the 2 for 1. Alright, so they are going to go Fury, Pitch, Dead, Gone. Kind of okay with that, again. I think they're also okay with it because they have a second Fury. Alright, Channeler down. But now I can just go fetch land, put Lurrus into my hand, and then hold up Altcast Dispute. If they play a blue card, which they're probably not going to, but... at least now, if they decide that they want to hardcast the Fury, I have nothing in play, so I don't really care if they cast it. And if they play a Curator, I can just counter it. So let's get Blood Crypt. Blackcleave Cliffs, huh? Do I want to expose the Lurrus? Yeah, I think it's fine. Because even if they draw a land for Fury, they can't kill both because I'll have Delirium, right? Artifact, sorcery, creature, land. And then if they kill the Lurrus, which I assume they will, then I can just call it gets commanded back. So I think it's okay. So let's go black, black, red, play Channeler. And now I think if they don't draw a land, they're just going to be way too far behind. Stupid fly on my desk. Alright. Yeah, so worst case scenario, they draw a land, play Fury, kill Lurrus. But we still have a 3/3 in play, and we have Kolaghan's Command to get back the Lurrus, so it's really not that bad. And if they want to pitch cast, also fine. Because then we're getting a massive advantage, because they have to kill the Lurrus. We get it back, they don't get to keep the Furies, so... oh, right, that can't go upstairs. I keep thinking the Fury can go upstairs for some reason. The card would probably be too good if it could. Alright, I'm just going to play my land and pass. Can end step, cast command to get back the Lurrus, Surveil, untap Lurrus, hold up Hardcast Dispute. I feel like this game is mostly over. I don't really know what they can draw. Because any threat that they can draw, I can just, you know, dispute it. They start hardcasting threats, and then we have Dispute plus Snap Dispute to answer the first 2 threats. We have a 3/3 flyer that's clocking them, so I think we are good to go. Alright, so I'm going to... I don't think their hand matters. So let's go return Lurrus, deal you 2. We can surveil. If they have hardcast Force of Negation, we can fight over it with Dispute. I'm just going to keep that because I have Bolt, Snap, Bolt. The old classic Bolt, Snap, Bolt. Gets him every time. So this is just lethal, right? Attack them to 6, Bolt, Snap, Bolt with Dispute up if they have Force of Negation. I will upkeep the Bolt because they can't, because that means they can't pitch cast Force, just in case. Oops. Alright, so they're going to 5. Upkeep. Bolt ya. Top. Snapcaster, Mage. Bolt ya. Upstairs. Opponent's off it. Okay. I think we got pretty lucky to win game 1. There was definitely a sweat there. We drew the Drought on the Luck, which was the one key piece of interaction that we needed that game, and they didn't draw a second Cascade spell. And then game 2, we kind of just, I don't know, we drew a sideboard card. They didn't have a correct answer to it, and I don't know, seemed like a fine matchup. So, hope you enjoyed the games. I'll see you back in just a little bit for round number 3. All right, everybody, we're here for round number 3, Grixis Lurrus. What do we got? This hand's pretty dope. Ragavan, Channeler, Thoughtseize. I'm not sure what I'm going to lead on. I think it depends on what they do. But we got a lot of options for turn 1, so. I think in the dark, the highest upside line is Ragavan on 1. But that might change depending on what they do. Also, it is worth noting, I really want to play a red card on turn 1, so I can double spell on turn 2. Because let's say I play Thoughtseize, I only have 1 red source. So I can't Thoughtseize into double 1-drop. So I think most likely, unless I draw a red source, I think it's a lock for me to play one of the creatures on turn 1. And maybe. We'll see. Again, it really, really depends on what they do. Alright, they rolled a 6. Grief, huh? Grief, Exile, Persist. So they don't have Ephemerate, though, which is good. Because they would have played their land first. So I assume they probably take Ragavan? And then we can go Channeler on 1. If they play Stoneforge Mystic on 2, we can just Thoughtseize the equipment. And if they play Unmarked Grave on 2, we can Thoughtseize the Persist. So I think, in any case, I'm just going to play whatever 1-drop they don't take. Yeah. I think that makes sense to me. I was going to say, they keep a no-lander? Okay, now I'm definitely going to play Channeler on 1. Channeler, Bauble. Sure, I'll keep that. I'm going to Bauble them on their upkeep. In case they have another discard spell, then I give them less information. They are drawing. Prismatic Ending. There's also something to be said about bobbling on end step. Because I'm going to Thoughtseize this card. I'm going to Thoughtseize and see this card anyways. So, like, maybe I should bobble end step there. Alright, let's go Channeler and Thoughtseize. Keeping that's pretty good in case they have a discard spell for the other iteration. Yeah, I think I have time for that. Oh. They had the Ephemerate, so I guess they just forgot to play their land first. That's unfortunate. Yeah, because they... Well, no, there was one... No, there was no... The only draw step that they had that we didn't know about from the opening hand was Ending, right? So they must have just not played... They must have just forgot to play their land first. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Brutality, discard that. Okay, so they take iteration, but then we just draw another iteration anyway, so it's fine. Or I could Lurrus. Is Lurrus better here? I actually think Lurrus is better, yeah. Because the thing about casting iteration is, in order for me to hit a 1-drop off of it, I would have to also take a land, because Island doesn't cast any of my 1-drops. So I think for me to get most value out of the iteration, I think it's better to just Lurrus here. I mean, I guess it's kind of the same thing, right? Because now if I iteration, I have to leave up Watery Grave, which means I can only cast discard spells. So let's just go Lurrus Bauble. Take a look at what they're drawing. Hopefully it's not Persist, because I think Persist is going to be hard for us to beat. Because they have a rider in the graveyard. Okay, so that can get them Unburial Rites. That's also not great for us. So now any land lets them... No, they don't have rights. Okay, that's good. They don't have rights in their deck, which I like. So now we can dash Ragavan, attack for 5, and then iteration using the treasure before playing our land, which I think is our best line. So they go to 14. We get an ending, which is a blank, but that's fine. Let's go iteration. I don't really think I want the 3rd Snapcaster Mage, but I also don't really need my 6th land. So I guess we'll just go hand, bottom, exile. Cast the Bauble. What am I looking for? I guess Drown in the Lock? So maybe I should Bauble myself. Nah, because I kind of want to just play this tap land either way. Alright, well. They're drawing it uncastable, so I think it's fine. I think everything is fine. Okay, they're off it. So, game number 2 against Black-White, Grief, Ephemerate, Persist. I believe Nihil Spellbomb is good. I think Explosives is bad. What about Flusterstorm? Flusterstorm is decent against Persist, Unmarked Grave, and it's also somewhat decent against Ephemerate. So I think that is something I want access to. Seal of Removal can bounce their fatties after they've persisted, so I think that's good. I guess Unholy Heat is my worst removal spell? No, that's not true, because Heat kills Archon after they persisted it, so maybe I should just cut Bolt. There's also something to be said about cutting Kolaghan's Command against a deck that has Persist, because making them discard is horrible, but you can just utilize the other modes on it. And the nice thing about Kolaghan's Command is sometimes these games do go a little bit longer. Like, they can just play a value game with Grief and Ephemerate, and Kolaghan's Command is insane in those games, so I think it's worth keeping. Would I rather have a Bolt or a Rampage? Yeah, Rampage can also kill a fatty. We'll have one Rampage in our deck. I don't want 2 of them, but I think the first one is okay. Back here for game number 2 against Black-White Persist / Grief / Ephemerate / stuff. I guess I should say Abzan because they showed us an Overgrown Tomb that game. I'm not going to keep 5 lands, Dragon's Rage Channel, or Kolaghan's Command. I was gonna be excited about this hand until I saw that we didn't have black mana. Oh my god. Mulling to 5 against the Grief deck is kind of a tough scene. He also kept 7. I mean, this hand just doesn't do anything, right? Dude, where's my black man? How many black sources are in this deck? I'm doing a count. 5, 8, 10, 14, 16. Jesus. I mean, I'm gonna keep this. I'm not in love with it, but I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna put back Snapcaster Mage and Seal of Removal, I think. Yeah. Okay. Leyline of the Void. Interesting. I think I am okay with that. For the most part. Let's go cast Bauble. Cast Spellbomb. Pass. I can Bauble them, Spellbomb to cover me against their Persist shenanigans. What do they got on top? They have a Grief. Okay. Well, I guess that's kind of bad if they have Ephemerate, which it seems like they don't. Let's just go Channeler, Bloodstained Mire, pass. Then we can hold up Crack Spellbomb. Oh no, we can't. We can't draw a card off this, right? When it's put into a graveyard. Yeah, we don't actually get to draw a card of the Spellbomb, so keeping up Black Mana doesn't matter. What is this? Kaya Orzhov Usurper. Okay. We're going to down tick on the Channeler. They're down ticking on the Spellbomb. Alright. I don't know why I sacked it. Doesn't do anything. So let's get black mana. Probably Watery Grave. What are we looking for? I don't really know. Because we can't play a discard spell. So we know they have Grief. We have Terminate. This is tough. I guess I'm looking for Unholy Heat to kill the Kaya. So maybe I just want to get rid of that. I mean, it does kind of suck because they can just minus on the Channeler. Yeah, see, this was the. I guess this was the problem with not playing Mountain last turn. Yeah. Yep. That was bad. Should have played Mountain. Because had I played Mountain last turn, I could have played the fetch land and then played the discard spell off of the iteration. But because I played the fetch land last turn, I left myself less options off of the iteration this turn. So that was probably bad. Kind of in a tentative position right now. Also, this ley line is kind of doing some work against us. I didn't think it was going to be that good, but it looks pretty good this game. Prismatic Ending the Channeler. Okay. We still know they have Grief in hand. They're casting Unmarked Grave. Okay. Well, we can Iteration into Thoughtseize. So let's just cast Iteration first. Let's go hand, bottom, exile. I'm actually going to bobble them before casting Thoughtseize because I want to get full information on my Thoughtseize. They have a uncastable on top. Damn, Grief, Persist. Alright, take Persist. Actually, why did I take Persist? I have the Nihil Spellbomb. Oh, because they can Kaya it, right? Well, that doesn't matter, right? Yeah, that was dumb. I should not have taken Persist. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. I probably should have taken Damn? I think Damn was the best option to take. I'm not positive. But yeah, taking the Persist didn't matter because I have the Spellbomb to cover it anyways. So that was kind of dumb. I probably should have taken Damn. Because even if they Kaya downtick, I guess what they can do is they can Kaya downtick on the Spellbomb, right? And then force me to use the Spellbomb. And then if they end up drawing another Unmarked Grave or like Liliana or Brutality, then they can just discard the Emissary and still have the Persist in hand. So, I don't know. It's not like... I mean, there are reasons both ways, you know. So this is their hand right now. It's kind of awkward. Alright, I'm just going to put Lurrus into my hand and pass. Not feeling really good about this, though. This ley line is actually doing some work. Ley line definitely doing some work here. Choosing to exile the Spellbomb. Okay. I will target your thing. Target your graveyard, excuse me. Alright, they still have Damn, For Damn Grief, Sarah's Emissary. Let's get another black source. Okay. That kind of helps, sort of. So we can make them kill, we can kill the Kaya. We can't really play Lurrus, though, because we know they have Damn. So I think I should wait until we find a discard spell. I mean, the thing is, we're never going to get value out of the Lurrus anyways, and they probably have a bunch of removal spells in their deck. And I think this ends up being better if we find a Ragavan. Because, remember, they have Grief in hand, and they haven't hit a land drop in a couple turns. So now, this turn, if they draw a land, they kind of want to play Grief, but they also, at the same time, kind of want to kill the Lurrus. Okay. That's not too bad, because we have Terminate, because our hand's pretty good against Stoneforge Mystic. Especially if they're getting Batterskull. Discard spell would be insane here. Oh, yes. Being able to take the damage is so good here, because we have a lot of other stuff to cover. I guess, unless they just play Grief, right? Because if they play Grief... Oh, they have Cauldra. Well, this makes things awkward. Now what? Okay, now I think I just terminate the Stoneforge Mystic now. But then if they draw Grief, if they draw a land, they just get to take the Kolaghan's Command. I mean, if I don't kill the Stoneforge, I can't kill the Cauldra, so I think I have to kill the Stoneforge. And just hope they don't draw a land. Alright, black-red. The reason I'm saving the Kolaghan's Command is because... I guess... Nah, the Kolaghan's... That was probably dumb, right? Because the reason behind saving Kolaghan's Command would be... They drew another Stoneforge. The reason behind saving Kolaghan's Command would be if you wanted to kill Batterskull. But if they draw back-to-back lands, they're going to play Grief before playing the Batterskull anyways. So it's kind of pointless. Okay, that was a really good draw. Wait, are we somehow in this game? There's no way, right? So I assume they're discarding Emissary. Maybe I'm not supposed to dash that because of Grief. Maybe I'd rather just have it in play. They go to 10. I really wanted to get a hit in this turn with it, though. Maybe that was not worth it. Because if I just hardcast it and they draw a land for Grief, it doesn't do anything. Whereas now, if they draw a land, they get to take the Ragavan, and then it's kind of awkward. What's this? Chalice on 1. Okay. Yeah, that's also punishment. That also is punishment. Alright. Attack you for 3. This has been a weird game. This has been a weird game. We're doing stuff the hard way through a ley line. We're doing it the hard way. So we still know they have Batterskull, Cauldra Complete, and Grief. Okay, not the best draw. Attack them to 4. They draw... What'd they draw? What's this? What is this? Is this Kaya's Guile? That would suck. Okay, probably dead now. I mean, we're at a lot of we have a lot of life total to work with, but we just don't really have a lot of cards that are necessarily that good here. I guess we have iterations. How many of those do we have left? 2, right? We got 2 of those left. They're at 6. Maybe we can iteration into 2 bolts. Oh no, I boarded up bolt, didn't I? Okay, never mind. Kolaghan's Command. Alright, I'm going to pass and hope they draw a land to cast Batterskull. That's my plan. Yeah, so without Bolt, what's my way to win? Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have went Shatter, Shock, Dash Ragavan. Yeah. And just not worry about Batterskull. Yeah, that was bad. I guess now I can just go Shatter, Shock, let them take Ragavan. Is there any way that I'm supposed to deal them to? Without Lightning Bolt in my deck, I don't think so. Yeah, but I messed that up. I should have definitely gone Shatter the Chalice, Tune the Spirit, and then Dash the Ragavan. That was bad. That was definitely bad. Alright, they're also holding back the Spirit, which is smart, to prevent me from drawing Ragavan. Man, Leyline is it's tough to beat. Just makes your deck so anemic, you know? Like, without this Leyline, this game would not have been close, obviously. And, like, the game is still somewhat close, you know? Even though they've had the Leyline. And I think maybe I would be in a... I mean, I'd definitely be in a much better position had I just killed the Chalice that one turn. Killed the Chalice, kill this, hit you with Ragavan. Okay. I have one Kolaghan's... No, this is my last Kolaghan's Command, so I have no other burn spells. So I think my plan is hope they tap out for Batterskull. Go Shatter the Batterskull, deal 2 to you, Unholy Heat the Spirit, and then rip Ragavan. Okay, Batterskull resolves. Still know they have Cauldron too. Don't forget about the Cauldron. Which they're not terribly close to casting. Alright, so let's go destroy target artifact, 2 damage to you. I'm not going to heat this yet because there's no reason to. I could just heat it on my turn if I draw the Ragavan. Ragavan. Nope. More Unholy Heats. Okay. This game has been pretty wild. This game has been pretty wild. A game that I definitely would have won if I had just dashed that Ragavan that one turn, I think. If I had blown up the Chalice. Okay, now Ragavan is no longer an out. Whoops, I'm sorry. I have to edit that out a little bit. Ragavan is no longer an out. Now what? Steam Gun's also not an out. Alright, your turn. I assume they're going to sack the clearing. Yeah. Alright, what are we looking to draw at this point? I mean, I think Iteration is still our best draw. I'm not really sure that we can Iteration into anything that kills them, but... Unmarked Grave. What you getting? I'm still kind of surprised they don't have Burial Rites in their deck. Because they didn't get a game 1 in a spot where they definitely should have. So I guess they just don't have it. Maybe it's just too slow. The Unmarked Grave for a Grief. I guess... No, I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't know why they would do that. That's a weird one. Alright, let's see. Nope, now we're passing. Okay, your turn. This is an interesting one. Again, I don't really know what we're looking to draw. Let's look what would we sideboard in? Not a lot left. Snapcaster Mage is a beater. I guess that's what we're looking to draw. Speak of the devil. 6. And we know they have a Cauldra. I mean, I'm just going to go for it, right? Yeah, whatever. Show me. Show me. I mean, I don't know what instant speed removal spells they have, but they have a Chalice in play. So, maybe. Oh, they have Kai's Guile. Oh, did they get greedy? They got greedy, didn't they? Alright, I'm going to cast the Unholy Heat for Storm. And then Fluster Storm this. Man, how do we win this game? Oh my goodness. Because they could have just... They could have just not kicked this, and then I wouldn't have been able to Fluster Storm it. My goodness. Woo! I did not think I was going to win that game through a landline and a Chalice. Wow, that was crazy. Yeah, I think if they just didn't kick that Kai's Guile, they probably are in a spot where I don't really have, realistically, I don't have any outs. But, you know, I don't know. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that game, because that was a lot of fun. I'll see you back in just a little bit for round number 4. Alrighty, YouTube, we're back here for round number 4 for our league with Grixis Lurrus, currently 2-1. It's a bit land heavy, but we have we have a 1 mana spell and a 2 1 mana spell, so I think I am definitely going to keep this. And our opponent also revealed Lurrus. We got a Lurrus Mirror. Ooh, the Grixis Mirror. Strap in for get some popcorn and hope you're ready for a long match, because I assume the Grixis Mirror is probably pretty grindy. Alright, I am going to... I'm just going to kill their thing. I think on the draw, I would rather just kill their threat before they get full advantage out of it. Did they keep a one-lander? Maybe. I hope so. Nope. Okay. So now I think I am going to save the Inquisition. Which one? It's a good one. Yeah, I'm going to save the Inquisition and just go Ragavan plus Bolt. I'm going to Bolt now, I think. I guess I could have waited until they fetched. Snapcaster is definitely a one I'm going to keep. Excuse me. Saving Inquisition for Lurrus. So for the turn that they eventually go for Lurrus, then I could just Inquisition it. Alright, Terminate is acceptable. But now I can just go Iteration for full value. This matchup probably comes down to just who draws more iterations. Okay, so let's just go Iteration to hand, Exile Inquisition. Get the full Monty here. And they have 2 lands left. Okay, so they have 2 lands, and we have a Snapcaster and Iteration and a bunch of good stuff. And they're choosing not to put Lurrus into their hand, which makes sense. Let's leave up Blackleaf Cliffs, I think. Just Iteration again. They drew a Drown. Alright, sure. I guess I should have Inquisition first, but I kind of wanted to save that for Lurrus, which is why I chose not to do that. But maybe that was bad. Okay. This is fine, because now we can just go Inquisition, your Lurrus, and then put my own Lurrus in my hand. Alright, your turn. They got a Blackleaf Cliffs. They played the Blackleaf Cliffs. Alright, let's see if they found another Drown. They did? Alright, okay. Go. It's a good draw. So they drew Drown the Lock on both the turns that we knew the rest of their hand. Okay, target Expressive Iteration. Red, blue, I think. go terminate to hand, bottom this, exile bolt. Let's go upstairs, play a delta, pass. Okay, so we're still up 2 removal spells. I think we're doing okay. Let's find a Colligan's Command. I mean, I guess I'll just keep taking those, sure. Let's go hand, bottom, exile, play Channeler, play Bauble, top that, attack for 2, take a peek at what they're drawing. I'm assuming they'll probably just fetch it away, but you never know. There's a bolt on top. Okay. They can kill a thing. Probably going to have to kill Ragavan. This game should just be over, right? Alright, Ragavan down. Take 5, they go to 7. I could snap bolt, but that only puts them to 1, because by bolt, snap bolt, so I'm just going to cast another iteration. Top that, put that in hand, put that on the bottom, exile that, play land, your turn. I think we are good to go. So remember that thing I said about drawing more iterations? Yeah, I drew 3 and my opponent drew 0, so I guess that was, I guess that's that. I mean, I said that, you know, kind of jokingly, but that's kind of the one card that matters the most, so. Alright, what are we doing in the post-board games? Probably not a lot. Maybe Dispute, maybe Flusterstorm, definitely Seal of Removal to protect Lurrus, and I think that's it. I probably want Spellbomb too. What's bad? I'm not a huge fan of Thoughtseize, because the games kind of go long, and I wonder if I want to cut the Inquisitions too. I mean, the thing about Thoughtseize and Inquisition is it is one of your clean, quote-unquote, clean answers to Lurrus, in the sense that they put it in their hand, and then you just 1-for-1 it guaranteed, whereas, you know, using a removal spell on Lurrus, you're almost always down a card in the exchange. So, how good is Dispute? Maybe Dispute's actually not that good. Let's just keep in 2 Inquisitions, I think. I want some number of discard, but not a ton of it. I also just want to draw 3 iterations again. Let's do that. Game looks pretty easy when you draw 3 iterations. Yeah, I'm just going to keep any hand that functions. Any hand that has lands and spells. This, again, one of those matchups that's all about quantity over quality. This hand does some stuff. It's not the flashiest hand, but it's serviceable. So they have Monkey. No, DRC. DRC. Alright, I will match your DRC. I think I will take the block. Maybe they have another DRC? Ragavan. Ragavan Spellbomb, huh? Oh, God, that's so awkward, because they can just Spellbomb themselves. Crown in the Lock looking pretty embarrassing against Spellbomb. Oh, man. Because if I cast Drown, they just Spellbomb themselves, and my Drown gets countered. Oh, God, this is so bad. I could play Channeler. I hope they don't have a removal spell. Which I think is maybe better. Yeah, I think that's better. It's not great, but Drown's not looking very hot. I mean, I guess, like, the argument is if I force the issue on Spellbomb, it makes their Lurrus a lot worse, but yeah, that's bad. That is bad. And Holy Heat. Okay. Yep. Ragavan is connecting. Well, at least they can't cast that, although that was probably my best draw. Was my best draw. So they have 3 cards. I think I'm just going to main phase this Kolaghan's Command. The question is, what's the other mode? Probably just make them discard, actually. Discard, 2 damage. I want to do it main phase while they're tapped out so they can't drown in the lock. I guess they can't drown anyways, right? They discarded a land, which makes sense. Yeah, I guess they couldn't have drown anyways, right? Because I didn't have a fetch land. Yeah, this is kind of what I did to them game 1, so... Probably not looking great. They also have Spell Bomb, so my Lurrus doesn't do anything. I mean, I guess I can force the issue on Drown. Or force the issue on the Spell Bomb. Make them Spell Bomb themselves, perhaps? Or they exile. Another Spell Bomb. Okay. Alright, let's just Lurrus here. I mean, they're getting kind of low. That's probably my way out of this, right? Just their life total. Because that's kind of low. Because I can't really get I don't have a good Lurrus turn because they have the Spell Bombs. So I have to... It probably all starts with Iteration. I would assume so. Okay. Alright, well they've cast 3 iterations. Kind of like what I did game 1. The difference is I still have a lot of cards in my hand. It's just my cards don't really do anything. So... Alright, we need to find an iteration. Please and thank you. Alright, step 1. Okay, now what? Now what? So I think I put Ragavan in my hand. No, Kolaghan's Command in my hand? What if I just went Inquisition Ragavan? Is that good? No, that's probably not good, right? There's a decent chance they have a couple, like multiple removal spells by this point, so I think I'd rather have the Kolaghan's Command in my hand. So what if we go exile Kolaghan's Command, or excuse me, hand Kolaghan's Command, exile Ragavan, and then just dash this thing? I think I like this. See what they do. Assume it's dying. Could be a Kolaghan's Command. Snapcaster Mage. Okay. Alright, spend heated. Play land, pass. So we go to 9. They're at 8. They're at 8 and we have a Kolaghan's Command. It's not quite enough. Another, they have a Channeler and maybe Lurrus. Okay. Alright, I mean I can't complain because I did the same thing to them game 1, so you know, it evens out. But that's like literally the only card that matters in this matchup, so as you can see. Both games, the player who resolved more than 2 copies of this card, you know, ran away with the game and it wasn't even close. So maybe we'll have a game in game 3 where we both draw a couple copies of it, as opposed to one person drawing 4, which is kind of what happened the first 2 games. Maybe we'll get more of a fair fight. Okay. If they didn't have the second spell bomb, I could actually do something cool here. Where I could go drown the Channeler, they go to pop the spell bomb on themselves, and then still with the drown on the stack, I then Kolaghan's Command the Snapcaster Mage. Wait, is there a way I can do it? So I cast drown target Channeler. They sacrifice Spellbomb on themselves. I let the Spellbomb resolve. They have no graveyard. Still with the Drown on the stack. Kolaghan's Command, blow up the Snapcaster, blow up the other Spellbomb, but then they just sack the Spellbomb. Oh, then that works, right? So I drown the Channeler. They sack the Spellbomb, target themselves. I let that go. I cast Kolaghan's Command, deal 2 to the Snapcaster Mage, blow up the other Spellbomb. They Spellbomb themselves again. Spellbomb resolves. Kolaghan's Command resolves. They have 1 card in their graveyard with the Snapcaster Mage. Yes, so that does work. Okay, we figured it out. Blue, black. Drown this. We figured it out. Or they could just do that. Sure, that's fine. Okay, play this tapped. Go. I was like, I knew there was a way I could do it. And they probably recognize that I can do that, so that they know there's no point in sacking the Spellbomb. Okay. And I'm going to try and kill it. They have another Spellbomb. Oh, I guess I should have... Well, no, there's no way for me to do it, right? Where is it? It's artifact, 2 damage. Right, I could kill the Ragavan. There's no point in getting back a card. I mean, both options end up killing the Spellbomb, right? Whether I get back a card from my graveyard or blow up the Spellbomb, they end up sacking it either way, so it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Alright, so I go to 5. We need to find an iteration. Iteration, please. Holy heat. Alright, let's see if I can bait the other... I should not have tapped both my black sources. They are going to... Oh, I should have killed the Snapcaster in response to the Spellbomb. Yeah, that was bad. That was really bad. I also definitely shouldn't have tapped both my black sources. Yeah. So I should have went blue, black, cast Drown, tap this, cast Heat, then I could have cast Lurrus as well. They just have enough mana to go Lurrus hand, cast Lurrus, play Snapcaster Mage. Alright, we need an iteration. Iteration, please. Oh, they drew Pirate Spellbomb. Alright, non-iteration. Alright, let's see if we can have a fair fight game 3. Where one of, both of us draws the equal number of iterations, because these first 2 games have not been remotely close. Okay, game 3. Let's see what we can get here. See if we can give the people an actual good game, because these first two games have not been good at all. Alright, this hand's dope. Well, I lied. Now I have 2 iterations, so see how many they have, but... They have 1. They have Dothy Voidwalker, interesting. And I'm just going to take the iteration, right? Could also take Snapcaster Mage. Actually, probably better for me to take Snapcaster Mage, right? Or I could take Dothy, because my hand doesn't really have a way to kill it right now. But they have a Steam Vent, so they can't cast it. Alright, I'm going to take Snapcaster Mage. It's a little bit risky if they find a black source to play Dothy on turn 2, but I think it's okay. Alright, we'll play this, and we will pass. I was waiting for them to sack the Delta, see if they would. Alright, they have 2 Steam Vents, so probably not casting a Dothy. Looks like they're going to hold up Drown. I would assume so. No. Not holding up Drown. Alright, draw a card off Bauble. I'm going to slam this iteration and try and hit a land for Flusterstorm. Perfect. So hand, bottom, exile, play Tarn, pass. And then we can fluster their iteration, which I assume they're going to cast. Yep. Let's go Watery Grave, 17. Fluster that. Alright. So now they're down iteration. They have Vents, Drown, Bolt, Voidwalker, and one unknown. So now let's go red, blue. No, I'm going to leave up the Blood Crypt, right? No, I'm going to leave up the Watery Grave because I have Mountain in my hand, right? So yeah, red, blue. Cast iteration. Let's go hand the Heat, bottom the Cliffs, exile the Channeler, play the Channeler, pass. They're going to bolt it, but that's fine. I guess I could have played the Seal before playing the Channeler. Yeah, why did I leave up the Grave here? I don't really know. I should have played the Seal and then played the Channeler. Yeah, that was dumb. Sure. I guess I could pop the Spell Bomb in response. So the Spell Bomb stays in my graveyard. I think I like that. Because I don't want the Spell Bomb exiled. And then we're just going to go Heat the Voidwalker. Then we're going to go crack this, probably get Island, play Seal of Removal, and then put Lurrus in hand. And then we're kind of chilling. So even if they have a discard spell for Lurrus, we have the Kolaghan's Command. We know they have Drown, but sure. So they have Drown plus Bolt plus X. So they have to take Kolaghan's Command, I think? I'm not really sure. I don't know, depends. Maybe what their last card is, because we know they have Drown, Bolt, and one unknown. It's not an easy Inquisition for them. They took the Lurrus, okay. So they're definitely not tapping out. Oh, they are. Okay. I'm in. I was gonna say, I don't think they want to do that. Oh, maybe they changed their mind. Okay. Accept. So their hand right now is Lurrus, Drown, Bolt. Lurrus, Drown, Bolt. Alright, let's just start off with iteration. When in doubt, cast the iteration. Not the best. So hand this, bottom this, exile this. Now I can go Snapcaster, Inquisition the Lurrus, and leave them with Drown Bolt. I think that's okay. Or I could just wait. Yeah, waiting is probably, well, no, I actually like doing this. Yeah, I like doing this. I like Inquisitioning the Lurrus here. It's just a nice clean 2-for-1, and I have a Seal to protect Snapcaster anyway, so they can't really go for the Bolt. Alright, and your turn. So right now their hand is Drown plus Bolt. So they have 2 removal spells, we have 2 removal spells, but we're up a Seal and a Snapcaster mage. So I think we're in a pretty commanding position. No reason to do anything quite yet. They're likely going to be the ones that have to act first. They found an iteration, but they found a Ragavan. Okay, let that go. I'm going to bolt it. They can't really fight over it because they know we have Kolaghan's Command. Let's just thin our deck a little bit. Let's get a Steam Vent. What do I want to draw? Bolt's not terrible. I'm going to hang on to the land in case they have Kolaghan's Command. Just keep a blank in my hand to discard to Kolaghan's Command at all times. Is this iteration? Another monkey, which makes sense, because they wanted to clear the bolt out of my hand. Then cleavage or another bolt. The reason I'm not casting Kolaghan's Command is because we know they have Drown, so I want to try and find the discard spell before we do that. Okay, Scalding Tarn, not the best. Okay, bit of a tentative position here. Drew a Voidwalker. Okay, yeah, that resolves. Should have fetched first, I guess. It's kind of a dicey position. I'm just not going to fetch now. Save it for Bauble. Okay, that's not too bad. That's a threat. That might incentivize them to cast Bolt. Alright, pass. So we still know they have Drown Bolt, don't forget. Drown plus Bolt. We have nothing exiled with the Voidwalker right now, right? Oh, we have a Heat. Sure, so they can... No, they only have Creature, Sorcery, and Land, so they can't quite Heat the Channeler. Do I want to seal my own Channeler? I'm not sure I do. So it's kind of awkward. Because if I seal the Channeler, my seal gets exiled, and they can just Voidwalker it. I feel like it is worth it, though. What else am I saving the seal for? I guess I'm saving the seal for Snapcaster Mage. Alright, I'm gonna let this go. I mean, I guess they can sack the Voidwalker to play a DRC now, but I think that's okay. So we still know about the Drown. Need to find a way to get around this Drown. Alright, let's attack for 2. They go to 7. And then we have 5 damage. I mean, I guess we can just pass, right? Just kind of make them act. Because we technically have lethal next turn. If we attack for 2, if they take it, they go to 5. We can Bolt Command them, and if they counter one of those 2 spells, then I can seal the Snapcaster Mage to snap the Bolt again. So I think we can just afford to just kind of play the waiting game here. I guess it sucks that their last card is also another... Okay, that probably does it then, right? So now they go to 5. And then we go... Red, black... No. Red, black, blue... return 2 damage. I'm gonna drown this, that's fine. I'll play a land. I'll bolt them. Alright, cool. Yeah, so I was gonna go Snap Bolt if they dealt with the other Snapcaster Mate, or if they had another Drown as the last counterspell as their last card, then I can just go seal the Snapcaster and then Snap Bolt again. So that was the Grixis Mirror. Kind of a pretty interesting matchup where, I mean, I guess it was interesting, but at the same time, you know, it seemed like the person who drew more iterations most times just won the game very, very easily. So I think that is going to do it for this video today. We're going a little bit long. I'm going to cut the league short. So we went 3-1. not too bad. We ended up losing to Hammer Time, which I think should be a decent matchup. But the other 3 matchups were pretty enjoyable. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. And with that, I will see you in the next one.